Hi everyone, my name is Bridie Gavigan and I'm a trainee solicitor here at TBA Law. Today I'm going to talk to you about retirement villages, hopefully give you a bit of an insight into some of the legal considerations that we recommend considering before you actually move into a retirement village. So making the decision to move into a retirement village is a major lifestyle choice. It involves quite complex financial and legal obligations. For some people, they might not have the option of living at home anymore, and it might be their only choice. But for others, it could actually be a decision just to change their current lifestyle. So in this video, I'll have a look at what a retirement village is and the different ways to enter into a contract with a retirement village. I'll give you a bit of information about choosing if a retirement village is for you and some hints on helping you decide which one suits you best. Then we will have a bit of an overview on some of the common types of fees and what actually happens when you depart a village. So retirement villages are communal living arrangements that provide individual accommodation. They're quite unique and there are a range of different types of living arrangements. So some of these include independent living units, assisted living units and service departments. So for a development to be considered a retirement village, the following three things are generally present. So the first is that residents are 55 years or older, they're retired from full-time work, or their partner or spouse might be retired from full-time work. The second thing is that residents receive accommodation and services. And the third is that at least one of the residents, as a contractual condition, paid an ingoing contribution that's not rent. So this can either be a lump sum payment or in instalments. So an ingoing contribution is a payment which is made to secure your right to live in a retirement village. So there are a few different types of retirement village contracts, and they're not the same as ordinary property, residential property contracts. Before signing, it's in your best interest to take all of these documents to a lawyer, and they'll be able to provide you with the advice on the legal and financial implications from that actual contract. And this is something that we definitely do here at TBA. So there's generally four ways in which you can enter into a contract. The first and most common is a loan and lease or a license arrangement. So basically you just sign a lease for your unit and a management contract for the provision of services. And there could also be a separate contract for the payment of the ingoing contribution. Secondly, there's a thing called a strata title. So this is where you pay the agreed purchase price. So you pay this to the development or the unit owner, and this is usually through an agent, such as the retirement village operator or an estate agent. And that's when you get the own strata title to your unit. So this means that you actually become a member of an owners corporation, and you'll then enter into another separate management contract with the village for the provision of services. As a strata title unit owner, you'll pay the fee, the owners corporation fee, but you actually own the unit, which is, it's quite different to a loan and a lease. So I guess you have a bit more of an ownership. There's also another thing called a company title. So this is a little more unusual, and it's where you buy shares in a company that actually own the retirement village. The shares give you the right to occupy a village, the right to occupy the village unit, and then you enter into another contract with the management for the provision of services. And the other one is a unit trust. So it's quite similar to the company title. For this one, you actually buy into a unit trust that carries an entitlement to actually occupy the unit. So for this setup, the retirement village is legally owned by the trustee of that trust, and they hold it for the benefit of the unit holders. So before you start looking at moving into a retirement village, we do suggest that you consult with friends and family and anyone that you expect to live close by, because it is a major decision. We do suggest to also be quite open-minded about the process, and if you can, consider other alternatives if that's an option for you. So there's home help, help from the government, other agencies, or even moving into a smaller home. So moving into a retirement village should really not be seen as an investment, but more of a lifestyle decision. And if you do intend on selling your home before making the move, we do suggest obtaining some advice on the property market, and then also considering agent fees and conveyancing fees for selling your property. Another great thing is a financial planner. So they'll be able to give you advice on managing your income and spending, and really help you decide if a retirement village is truly in your best interests. So when you're choosing the right retirement village, it can be quite difficult. So there are quite a few different types of villages. So we do, and quite a few different options. So what we recommend is making a list. So in the list, you write down what you absolutely need to have in your village, and then possibly make another list with things that you'd like, but you don't need. Might just help with the process of narrowing down where you want to live. Some things that you might want to think about is the village policy, so on visitors, pets, car parking, because a lot of them offer a lot of different different opportunities and have different restrictions. And yeah, you've got to think about the gardens, the landscaping, garbage disposal, and also their fees, which is quite important, but I'll get to that soon. It's also important to understand the healthcare that the village might offer, because it's often a misconception that retirement villages offer ongoing medical support, especially as your situation changes. But this might actually not be the case, and in most contracts, it's actually not the case. Because some retirement villages do have, on-site, low-level and high-level aged care services. There's nursing homes or hostels. However, it doesn't mean that, when the time comes, that they can automatically advance you to an on-site facility. So we do, suggest inquiring at different retirement villages to really allow you to compare them to each other. Focus on ones that fit your location and your financial requirements. If possible, try to talk to some of the residents that might live there and see what they like and don't like about living there, and compare their retirement village contracts. So before you sign one, make sure that it contains any verbal promises that you might have been told. And again, we can help out with this. If you bring them in and express your concerns to us, we can definitely have a look through them and give you our advice and help you make that decision. So understanding your financial obligations, it should be really fundamental to your decision, because there's often different types of fees and levies which you will be required to pay. So some of the common fees, we've got the waitlist fee. So this is a fee that you might have to pay while waiting to get into that retirement village. So before you add your name to the list, find out exactly how much it costs, and if you will receive all or part of that on entry into the village, and also find out what happens if you decide to get off that waiting list. So there's another thing called ingoing contributions, which is what I spoke about before. So these can be upfront payments, and they might be described as an ingoing contribution, an interest-free loan, or a deposit. There's also maintenance charges. So these are the types of fees which generally cover managing the retirement village, so staff salaries, maintaining the facilities, the gardens, the common areas, recreational facilities, and just other general services to the residents. Generally, you will pay these fees, the maintenance fees, monthly or quarterly, And you should be aware as well that they can increase in line with the annual consumer price index. So it is just something to be a bit wary of. And there's also another fee called a special levy. So sometimes in retirement villages, they may need more money than they collect in the maintenance charges, and the operator or the manager might seek to cover the cost of these through a special levy. The good thing about these is they can only be proposed once every 12 months. So now I'll move on to actually departing the retirement village, which is a legal consideration which you should think about when deciding upon your retirement village, because a lot of them have different policies and you can get yourself stuck in quite a heavy financial burden, I guess, if you do want to leave. So it's something to definitely focus on. So if you decide to actually sell your unit, you should have the right to sell your unit through an independent agent of your choice, or the retirement village operator, either or. But yeah, this is again something that you should look at in the contract. And if you do engage in an external estate agent, the retirement village operator, they can't actually seek a commission for that sale, but they can decide whether to approve a potential buyer as a resident or not. And depending on the terms of your contract, you might also have to pay the retirement village operator so a share of any capital gains that you make on the sale, deferred and departure or exit fees, and possibly other charges drawn from the proceeds of the sale. So yeah, just be wary if you do sell it through the operator, that a lot of different fees can be taken out. So also if a retirement village operator has a waiting list, but they aren't your selling agent, you don't actually have to sell to people on that list, and the operator doesn't have to give it to your agent. So yeah, there's quite a few pros and cons selling through an agent or through the operator, because there's different fees involved, but obviously with agent fees they have their own as well. So it's just another consideration that you should think about. So there's also the actual fees of departing, or the exit fees. So you might have entitlements as well as the fees. So with the entitlements, your contract might entitle you to a refund of some of your ingoing contribution. So this might be less some fees and charges, but an estimate of this amount can actually be found in the disclosure statement that you get with your contract. And it should have an estimate after 1, 2, 5, and 10 years of residence there. So with the fees as well, the departure fees, you might have to pay these fees, and it is a possibility that you will have to pay these fees when you do leave, or they'll hold back some of that ingoing contribution, like the entitlement. They might also include a deferred fee, which it basically represents a payment of the village owner's contribution to the village and their investment in the village. So it's generally a way that commercial retirement villages generate their profit, and it's how the non-for-profit villages improve their services and subsidise other maintenance charges. The fees, the bad thing about these is that the fees can't generally be calculated until you've actually left your unit and a new resident has purchased it. Generally, they can be about 30 to 40% of your ingoing contribution price. So that, yeah, as you can see, there's definitely quite a few different things to think about. If you, or if someone that you know is considering about entering into a retirement village, we do think that professional advice is crucial to committing to any decision, because there's so many different obligations and so many different restrictions that you don't want to be stuck in something and I guess have to deal with that and the different obligations that come with it. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope that I gave you a little bit of information about these. And yeah, if you've got any questions or anything else, feel free to come in. We're happy to help with these contracts because we do understand that they are quite complex, and there are a lot of different places out there. So yeah, good luck. Thanks.